Everyone, give a warm welcome to Emily.
Hello, GM. Okay, so I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to fly through the intro part because I want this to be as valuable as possible. So about me, I'm a marketer, CMO at Hype. I've been full-time in crypto marketing for the last 3.5 years. Learned about Bitcoin in 2013. Hype is a crypto native agency, so we've worked with a lot of amazing projects, and I'm excited to share some of the things we've learned. Number one, I just want to validate that crypto marketing is difficult, and I'll go through some of the reasons why. And it feels like we've been early for a really, really long time, right? Like the Bitcoin white paper came out in over 16 years ago. And also marketing, even me as a marketer, there's a lot of different channels, tactics, strategies. So hopefully we can simplify this down a little bit. The main outcome I want you to take away from this is make getting users easier, whether you're an ecosystem, a dApp, or a protocol. So we will combine marketing fundamentals with crypto native projects. So current market forces on why crypto marketing is difficult. I essentially identified 3 pillars. Number one, it's really saturated and competitive. There's also multiple audiences, and it's fully global. And the tech is premature, which also creates some reputation woes outside of the hacks that we have seen on the news and all of the other headlines that you've seen in the last 16 years. This is an interview I did with a friend who has never been on crypto ever. And I essentially onboarded her and live filmed her reaction. And you can see her reacting to realizing there's 365 blockchains. Beyond that, outside of these 365 blockchains, there's also a ton of infrastructure and middleware that is needed to connect these blockchains together, whether it's interop or chain abstraction or wallets. And overall, especially with this cycle with Pump.Fun, there's 50,000 new tokens made every day, and there's 11 million projects and tokens. So you can imagine attention is really scarce, right? Like we need to sleep 8 hours a day, we need to work, and when we have so many different projects and places to put our capital, our attention's extremely fragmented. Outside of that, there's also so many categories that are growing. I'm sure you've heard of AI. So this is actually my friend experiencing Pump.Fun for the first time. That was her raw reaction. According to Kaito, there's 44 metas. This is anything from DeFi to stable coins to Bitcoin Fi. So outside of all of the different categories in crypto, there's also all of these different narratives within those different categories. Now, the multiple global audiences, not only is this worldwide, which means you need to account for cultural nuances, languages, and breaking down cultural barriers. There's so many different audiences you need to target if you're an ecosystem. And if you are a dApp, it would be a little bit more niche, but the fact that there's so many different types of people that you're talking to with different incentives means that there is also a fragmentation in messaging and how you coordinate. So this is mainly for ecosystems, which as you just saw in the previous slides, there's at least over 350 of them. Some of those audiences are, if you're an ecosystem, you need to attract developers and builders to build apps to actually tap into retail audiences. You also have customers and users. So I could be using Celestia for data availability, but that would be different than me as a token speculator on TIA, for example. So that would be 2 separate audiences. Then you also need liquidity. So you need VCs, angels, KOL rounds, investors. You have tech partners for BD. You also have listing partners if you do want to get listed on a tier 1 exchange, which does help with the retail and token speculators. And lastly, there's regulators and institutions. So the fragmentation of audiences also makes marketing so difficult. The tech is also premature, right? So in 2021, we saw a big boom of NFTs. A lot of mainstream and retail audiences came in and realized like, oh wait, the blockchain is actually slow, or we have to pay these gas fees. So we swing between we need more infra and we need more dApps. And what this means is that it's actually hard to get net new users here in the space, which means we have a growing ecosystem, so much attention fragmentation, and the audience size is not growing as fast as we'd like. And also on reputation woes, so you can see there's a lot of, outside of the crypto Twitter bubble, outside of these in real life events, there's a lot of noise that other people see who are not in crypto, including my friend. When they think of crypto, they think of Bitcoin, they think of Coinbase. They're not realizing that there's flourishing DeFi or SocialFi apps. So it's just very difficult to onboard and get people involved. Okay, but it's not all doom, right? Like there's a reason why I read the Bitcoin white paper in 2013. There's also probably a reason why you're here. If you're a builder, there's likely a reason why you're building. So a lot of marketing is telling that story. There's also a growing number of developers, which means that hopefully we are getting inching closer to those apps that can onboard people. And there's also a lot of really interesting use cases. I'm sure you've seen this. I took this photo in Argentina, as well as the one on the left, where they're actually transacting with USDT there to hold the dollar because they have hyperinflation. I saw this in Turkey as well. And there's a lot of apps that use cryptography or blockchain technology where you don't even know blockchain is involved and it's abstracted. And because that is abstracted, they're not targeting people on crypto Twitter. So there is a use case for the technology. It's just sometimes we don't always see the representation. So what is actual marketing strategies? We know that there's difficulties with marketing. What do we do about it? I like to distill it down to why, who, what, and how. And ultimately, what a marketing strategy is a plan on how to achieve certain goals. It's not a tactic. So simply having a meme account page or an intern page or a brand mascot is not a marketing strategy. That is a tactic that you can utilize in your marketing strategy. But ultimately, your marketing strategy is why does it matter? Who does it matter to? And there's multiple audiences, as we already discussed. What narratives and messages are we communicating? And how this plan is executed and coordinated. I like to use this framework, always start with positioning, which is essentially your differentiation and relevance. Start there with your why, then understand who your audiences are, understand how to coordinate those narratives and messaging, and think through where these people live. And that could be a variety of channels, different tactics, or campaigns you can use. So start at the top and go down. And number one for crypto marketing, coordination is key. So this is an interview we did with Charlie. He's the CMO of Nillion. Feel free to take a photo of the flowchart on the left. And my friend Reika, she mentioned that working in marketing is 80% coordination and 20% creative. If you look at that flowchart, you'll see how Nillion, when they're doing a brand awareness campaign, they're coordinating across all of their VC partners, their ecosystem projects, their own team, their CEO, their founders. They're looking to get as much distribution as possible across a variety of channels, whether that's X, LinkedIn, Twitter, podcasts, different formats of media. And then they're also retweeting things and reposting things to capture the global audience. So you can see the very last piece here is let's hit the Western market for the first 12 hours, then Eastern market, then community monitoring, and then content syndication. So a lot of crypto marketing is heavy coordination, and I don't think we talk about that enough. The other important thing is because everything is early tech and it's pre-product market fit, it's so important to do things that don't scale. This is from the book Crossing the Chasm, and ultimately we are still early, and that's okay. We're still very much in this early market, and we haven't really penetrated the mainstream market outside of centralized exchanges or stable coins. So what that means is it's super important to talk to users, validate your ideas and assumptions, but to take this to a next step, like this is Alan from Pump.Fun. He mentioned he cold messaged over 3,000 people. I really like to showcase this example because it really shows that as a founder, if you're building a dApp or ecosystem, it's so important to onboard people, talk to them, use that feedback. And you can actually use it to tell their stories. So you can document what users are saying, tell their stories, and actually use that in your marketing as well. This is another friend I recently onboarded last week. And I like to make sure people exercise free will. So what I do is I put them on the ethereum.org website, and I'm like, okay, choose a wallet that speaks to you spiritually. And she went through the website, and you can tell, she's like, I actually have no idea what this is like. It's like learning a different language. And she's like, whatever, let's go with Rainbow. But watching this process is really interesting. She studied for her bar exam. My other friend worked at Tesla. Like, these are smart people. And onboarding is really difficult in this space, and we don't know this if we don't actually talk to people and see how they experience it. And the most important thing is to tell your own stories. So if you're a founder or if you're a team, you have to remember that there's different stories that you're telling, whether you're connecting to developers and getting them to onboard. Those stories are going to be very different than talking to listing partners or talking to consumers of your app. And ways that you can tell this story is remembering that just putting out a marketing campaign or putting out one tactic isn't enough. You need to have consistency, and you need to show it in different ways. So I actually flew by this, which is amazing, because I thought I had 30 slides. So maybe I go back to this one, because I think this is actually a tangible example. I believe Nillion is here as well. You'll see their trucks everywhere. but this is a tangible example of what one singular marketing campaign looks like, right? And one marketing campaign is not enough. So this only shows you the coordination within one marketing campaign, but marketing and storytelling is a concurrent thing. And it's also going to evolve as your company evolves. So it depends on the stage you're in. So a lot of the work we do at Hype is helping our clients and companies get to that next stage. We do a lot of campaigns for mainnets, testnets, TGEs. And TGE is only day 0 in crypto marketing. So after you understand who your audiences are and who are the most important to target within that stage, then you can coordinate that strategy. Okay, I actually flew through this. Thank you for coming. And if you have any questions, you can find me on X. And also, this is a little bit about Hype.